The one from Shishui County to Shishao his last year. My guy was just trying to process it all. Like, why was he here? Was this some kind of cosmic payback? He was tripping wondering if he actually came back. So get this, his name is Shen Fan, and he's the Immortal Sovereign of Beixuan, also known as Shen Beixuan. And he's the top disciple of the apex martial arts goat, the Immortal of Kangji. Dude got yeeted from Earth at 30 years old and started his whole immortal cultivation grind. With some serious hustle, he reached the Tribulation Stage after only 5 years of training. He was known as a straight-up prodigy, the one most likely to successfully bounce from the universe and ascend to the celestial realm. That's how he threw down with all the tribes in the universe, won every single battle, and was hailed as the Immortal Sovereign of Beixuan. In the universe, winning every battle and being honored as the Immortal Sovereign of Beixuan. But unfortunately, our boy totally wiped out during the Divine Tribulation, cause he'd leveled up way too fast to build a solid foundation in his heart. His Tao just couldn't take it, making him ditch all his progress from the last 500 years, leaving him with a ton of regrets. And all those regrets just exploded when his inner demon Tribulation hit, leaving him with like 0 places to hide. Because of this, the dude's actually stoked, wondering if he really came back to Earth as a teen. He just sits down, thinking again that this wasn't some inner demon trip, which meant he was for real back. And now he'd lost all his OP powers, his primordial spirit, and his Tao heart. He'd even lost his magic items and weapons, which meant he was just a regular mortal who could get clapped by a single bullet. But he wasn't even that mad about it, thinking that this time he'd grind out each stage perfectly and build a supreme Tao foundation. Looking up at the sky, my guy thinks blood for blood, no regrets. He realizes he's pulling into Shuzhou, wondering how long it's even been since he dipped from this city. But right then his phone starts blowing up. It's his mom calling. His mom calls him Zhao Fan, telling him his Aunt Tang is probably waiting for him outside the station, and that he needs to work hard in Shuzhou, asking if he's cool with that. But dude, our boy is just crying, thinking about how he hasn't heard his mom's voice since she passed away, after he missed his last chance to see her. Crying, he tells her not to worry, and to take care of herself in Shanghai, and his mom is cool with it. She says she has a bunch more stuff to do and hangs up. With that, our guy realizes that they're getting all the passengers off the bus. As he gets off, he just screams into the air. Or like says it silently, to be 17 again, I'm really back. He's got to go through the whole mortal world thing again. So this time around, the protagonist had absolutely nothing to fear. Looked like some mom and her daughter were waiting for him, and the daughter was being a total brat, asking her mom when he was going to show up. The girl was like, yo, can we just call him and tell him to hurry up? But her mom just told her she was being super impatient. I mean, it had only been 10 minutes, but this chick was complaining about being in the sun for 10 minutes and had plans to hit up Starbucks for a coffee. That afternoon, she hopped in the car and was like, it's way cooler waiting in here. The girl thinks her mom is even trying to hook her up with the main character. She's betting the dude is just some country bumpkin and is like, how is this even possible? Like, is she supposed to be good enough for him or the other way around? But then she's totally shook. When she hears the MC's voice, he's apologizing to his Aunt Tam for making her wait. That's when I tuned back in. And they're on their way to who knows where, probably to that Aunt Tang's house, the girl figures. She thinks the main character's name must mean friend or something, and just like his name, she's putting him straight in the friend zone. He's no competition for Li, Yin Yang, and his crew. All of a sudden, Aunt Tan breaks the silence, telling the main character that Ran Ran is gonna be an upperclassman too, and she should look out for him at school. The MC is like, oh, for sure, she's basically like a sister to me, telling his Aunt Tan not to sweat it because he would protect her. The main character starts thinking about this girl he once loved who totally wrecked him, and how he gradually forgot all about her, even her name. Her name was Yan Saran. The MC tells this Ran Ran that she should hit him up if she ever needs help, but Ran Ran tells the guy he better not back out of his word when she asks for a favor. But this girl is just thinking that her dad is a major government official, and her mom owns a company worth $10 million. Like, why would she ever need help from this dude? Aunt Tan cuts in saying they're gonna go to the apartment first to drop off the main character's luggage, and then they'll head to her house for lunch, which the MC is totally down for. When they get to the place where the MC is staying, Aunt Tan mentions that the community is near Yanggi Lake and has some seriously killer views. Plus, it was super close to Ivy High, and it would only take the main character like 10 minutes to get there on foot. She mentioned that the place had 3 bedrooms and a living room on the east side of the apartment. And she was like, aren't the decorations totally bougé? The main character is just thinking how cool Aunt Tan is to him. And Aunt Tan tells the guy to just make himself at home, study hard, and not even worry about the rent. The MC thanks Aunt Tan for that, and she tells him that his mom trusted her with him, so she was gonna look after him like he was her own son. Aunt Tan then basically drags the MC along, which Miss High and Mighty is not feeling. That's Ran Ran, and she's thinking he's getting way too buddy-buddy with her mom and his aunt. Tan was just dead set on them going to her place for lunch at Longjin Villa. She told the main character that her neighborhood wasn't even the best in Suzhou, but it was right on Yanggi Lake, and the most famous spot in Suzhou was Junggu Mountain. I know these details might seem kinda random, but trust me, they're gonna be pretty important. Aunt Tan keeps going, saying that the word is that all the mountains where the houses are were all covered in fog and clouds, like straight up seas and mountains of clouds. Those were the real Bouger houses. They were on the side of Junggu Mountain, but she was like her place was good enough, saying that Junggu Mountain Villa was gorgeous, but she wasn't seriously dreaming about living there or anything. Then the main character says that if she was really into it, he'd totally cop her a few cribs once he's raking in the dough. And then his awesome Aunt Tam could check out the seas of clouds every morning, like right when she wakes up. She was totally vibing with what he was saying, telling him it's awesome, and she can't wait for that day and that she'd bring her mom there too, and they'd spend their golden years together. That Ran chick thinks the main character is all talk, but Aunt Tam just kept going about how they could go on shopping sprees and have spa days together like his mom and Aunt Tam. Right then, as they were walking in, they bumped into Aunt Tam's husband. He was all serious, asking what was so funny because he heard Aunt Tam laughing through the closed door. Our main character just says hi to Uncle Yang, who's clearly not a fan of him, but Aunt Tam just leaves him, with the guy telling our dude to have a seat because she was heading to the kitchen to grab some good food. And she said she'd be super quick. Once everyone was at the table and the food was out, that Uncle Yang is thinking that he barely even talked to the main character and already decided he's some kind of idiot with bad grades and just a total loser who was nowhere near good enough for Lee Jin-chan. The main character chimes in that he hasn't had a home-cooked meal in ages and that it's legit good. Not to mention Aunt Tam made it all by herself. He's thinking that Aunt Tam was super sweet, classy, kind, and gorgeous. And she was even a bomb cook, but unluckily she married Yan Shanghai, who's a total clout chaser. But while he's lost in thought, Aunt Tam cuts in and tells him he just got to her city, and he should let little Ran show him around and see if he wants to cop anything. The main character is like, I'd bet. But Ran is so not feeling this, and after they step outside, she tells him she's got other stuff to do and he should just check the place out on his own, and that he could call a rideshare if he wanted, because she wasn't gonna babysit him. But he totally blows her off, telling her it's all good, and they'll just catch up later. This kinda ticks Ran off, but as our guy is walking, he's thinking that the spot he's heading to is Yanui Lake, because that place has the most primo spiritual energy around. When he gets to a tree, he thinks he needs to hurry up and start setting up a base. Our boy tells us that there are like 8 stages of cultivation. You've got Qi condensation, Jianshin core formation, nascent soul spirit severing, void returning Dao fusion, and true or lasting retribution. But even though Qi condensation was just the first stage, it had 3 mini-stages: establishment, foundation establishment, profound opening, and sea spirit. That foundation establishment stage was like step 1 of cultivation. And after that, cultivators can literally lift hundreds of pounds, run as fast as a horse, and just totally shatter their body's limits. They can condense their true essence inside them, kinda like drawing talismans, and be able to pull off some real magic. So our boy is wondering which path he should even take to set up his foundation. Cause like this dude collected a crazy amount of secret arts over the last 500 years. He snagged a total of 13,726 ways to build his foundation. Besides his regrets, another big reason he totally wiped out during the Divine Smackdown was his foundation. It was just trash, not stable enough at all. And even though the foundation building stage is like the first step for cultivators, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but you can't build a skyscraper without a solid base, you know? So yeah, foundations are super important for literally anything. After picking the martial art he had in mind, he figures this one is all about inclusivity and just absorbing everything. And now that he's back to cultivating on Earth, where the spiritual energy is basically zero, he's got to rely on all sorts of medicinal stuff and treasures. He even has to tap into some evil and yin energy to boost his cultivation. So that's how, after a bit, the MC had already started cultivating, thinking that the void body refining art is legit, the #1 foundation building method in the world, and he jumped straight into the initial stage of foundation building on his very first try. And luckily for him, the spot was totally off the grid and quiet, so he could just grind all night without anyone bugging him. Then, trying to test out his new power, our boy just decks a tree like super hard. And even though he doesn't knock it over, he leaves a huge dent. He's thinking, yo, this is all pure physical power, insane. But after a minute, like anyone else, the MC starts feeling hungry, realizing he's got to remember he's still immortal for now, and needs to grub. While our dude is walking, he runs into 3 people. This old guy is giving him a major stink eye, so the MC is like, what's your deal? The old dude just says that he's probably just some kid who's passing by. Whatever, the old man was just spouting a bunch of nonsense. But our MC takes a closer look and notices a hint of true essence inside the girl's body. He's like, wait, is she an immortal cultivator? But then he figures nah, cause her true essence is way too weak and the condensation is super sloppy, like thousands of times weaker than a real cultivator. Still, she had some inner strength, and the quality of that inner strength compared to a real cultivator's true essence power was actually pretty solid. Anyway, after he walks past the girl, she straight up asks him why he shook his head. Our boy's just like, oh, I was shaking my head about something else, my bad. But then, the taller dude stops him and is all, hold up a sec. And you can tell our MC is not having any of it. And the old man says, you obviously shook your head after seeing my granddaughter. You gonna tell us why? Right away, the tall guy tells our MC to show some respect, and our boy just claps back. Who told her this ain't got nothing to do with her? The old dude then says that peep in the way the MC walks. He's betting the guy trains in martial arts. He introduces himself as Huevo and asks if he can get the scoop on where he's from and who his master is. The MC just tells him he's barely a Dao cultivator if he really has to know, wondering if this is really Huevo. The MC says he's not some martial arts student, and after hearing the MC was a Dao cultivator and not into martial arts, the old man asks if he's from the Dao sect, but this just totally ticks off the girl. And she asks the MC if he was straight up lying to her. The MC just laughs it off and explains that he's just a Dao cultivator who knows a few tricks for condensing chi, and that's it. All that stuff with spears and staves, brawling and taking people out, that's not really his vibe, and this girl had it all wrong. Then the old dude finishes by telling the MC that in that case he and his granddaughter could spar a little and maybe learn something from each other. The girl gets into a fighting stance and tells the MC to let her teach him a lesson. At this point, the MC thinks, all right, I guess I gotta show them what I can do. Turning his back on the girl, the MC is all like, I really didn't want to have to flex on a defenseless girl. Yeah, that comment totally set the girl off. But then the MC just picks up a little leaf and flicks it like it's a freaking bullet. That bullet made the old man and the tall dude totally freak out for the girl. But the MC, being all low-key about it, just snipped off a tiny piece of her hair. When the girl realized she had a little nick on her cheek, she's like, what was that? And when she whips around, she sees the MC actually stuck that leaf deep in the tree, wondering if this guy can actually mess people up with just a flying flower or a leaf. The old dude wrapped it up by saying he never thought he'd see a god-tier technique like that in his lifetime, saying that he and his granddaughter were totally out of line in front of a true master. The old man's thinking he never expected the kid to be a master of martial arts, just some unknown. But then again, he's thinking it's the first time he's ever seen a skill like that. And it was so fast that the other dude couldn't even pull out his weapon. The girl finally chimes in, saying the MC cut her hair with a flimsy leaf and then nailed it to a tree. Like, how is that even possible? And the MC's just like, it was just a little trick, condensing some ki. No big deal. The old dude says that it might be no big deal to the MC, but to him it's some kind of miraculous master-level skill. Hearing this, the girl thinks, wow, Gramps is even calling him sir now. But then the MC asks, wait, did you just say a master can do what I just did? And the old dude is like, yeah, for sure. A top-tier master is at the peak of martial arts, way beyond what normal people can do, and they can unleash their inner power and easily take someone out from like tens of thousands of feet away. The old man finishes by telling the MC that he is totally a master, and doesn't he know that he says it's just common knowledge in the whole martial arts scene? But the MC is totally floored, realizing these guys think internal force is some crazy rare thing. Like he was just some Dao cultivator. And that was nothing more than a basic power move, and that he'd never even heard of the stuff this guy was talking about before. Still, the old dude figured they totally needed to get the MC on their side, thinking that with his skills, he was basically on a master's level. Plus, his granddaughter was still single. Like maybe he could set her up with the main character, telling him it didn't even matter if he was a master or whatever, cause judging by his accent, he was a local too. The dude's like, yeah, I've lived here for like 17 years. And now that he was back here for school, he was totally from the area from Shishui for real. So the MC introduces himself saying his name's Shen Fan, but people could also call him Shen Beixuan. Beixuan was the name his master gave him. They were thinking they'd never even heard the guy's name from the Shishui district before. Then the old man hits him with, so where's your master at? Asking if he didn't roll up to this place with him. The MC starts wondering after that question, like, what star? Was he cruising on now? Because he was definitely not on this planet at the moment, the MC explained. He's like, unfortunately, people can't just dodge getting old sick or kicking the bucket, and his old war buddies, even though they'd cultivated their inner strength, couldn't hit that master level, and he'd probably be seeing them again real soon. All of a sudden, while the MC is thinking this, the old guy starts coughing his lungs out. The girl asks him if he's good. And her grandpa's like, I'm totally fine, just an old thing acting up. The MC explains that he was trying to force his inner strength, which totally shocks the old man. He asks the MC if he knows about medicine and how he knew about his condition. The girl jumps in saying her grandpa was in the war when he was young and had to force his power. He hadn't totally mastered it yet, but he did it to help his squad fall back, and he got messed up because of it. And since it was an internal injury, he didn't get help in time, and it's never really healed all this time, his granddaughter finishes. She tells the MC that since he's an immortal cultivator of the Tao, he can see the injury and asks if there's any way he can fix it. She says her grandpa is in some serious pain every time it flares up, and modern medicine can't really do anything for him. The MC looks like he's deep in thought, so the girl is like, look, to be real with you, my family's got some serious pull here in Jinbei, and we'd do anything for you if you can cure my grandpa. The MC nods, saying it wouldn't be hard for him to help, and it must be fate that they ran into each other. This totally makes the granddaughter and the bodyguard super happy. The MC explains he needs to prep and he'll swing by the house in 2 days. This gets the guard all hyped, and the granddaughter says that's awesome while she's smiling. The MC thinks that even a high-strung girl like her is prettiest when she smiles. After a bit, the MC was riding in a car with the old guy's bodyguard, thinking that the old dude, he talked all chill, but you couldn't miss that military vibe. He must have been in the army when he was younger and probably had a spot that was way up there. The MC thought about how much he respected the soldiers who defend the country and protect everyone. These cribs since he was a little kid, cause they're all about that inner strength, so they're totally on his level. Right away, the guard pops the door open and our dude is like, "Aight, we're here," and gives him a quick thanks. He tells the guy he can dip for now, and to swing by and scoop him up at the lakeside community in like 2 days. After dropping our main character off, the guard's like, yo, we should totally swap numbers. So he can hit him up if he ever needs backup, which our dude was down for. But after the guard dipped, our guy was like, he's got like zero first aid skills, so he had to run to a pharmacy and buy a whole bunch of medicine. Meanwhile, back at his crib, he's thinking he's got this pill refining thing down, so he activates the formation, the spiritual condensation one, and orders it to power up. Just like that, our guy whips up some pills thinking that these tiny little things were for boosting the spirit. He explains that this spirit-enhancing pill was a type of pill that could totally amp up your ki, your primordial ki, and you could basically call it a cure-all. People who were sick, injured, or weak could take it, and our guy's thinking since he has this fated connection with those people, he is going to give them another gift. Then while he's doodling, he realizes his Aunt Tan is hitting him up, so he answers. She tells our guy she wants to ask him a favor, and he's like, what is it? Aunt Tan says Ran wants to hit up a party with her friends, and she's worried, so she asks if maybe our dude could go with her. He ends up agreeing, telling his Aunt Tan that it's totally not a problem. So Aunt Tan says she'll send the time and address over to him, and our guy is thinking, it's probably just gonna be dinner or something. Yeah, he'll do it for his Aunt Tan. But on the flip side, where little Ran is meeting up with her friends, she is so not feeling her mom's idea about our dude coming with her. One of her friends asks Ran why she looks so bummed out. 'Cause it's her birthday, and Ran explains that her mom is sending our dude to the party, but she's absolutely not a fan of that plan. Hearing this, the birthday girl asks if he's that guy, you know, her mom's friend's son, the one her mom wants to marry her off to. She denies it, saying it's so annoying that they want to set her up with him. At this, the blonde friend asks what our dude looks like and what's the tea on his family. And Ran immediately calls her out, saying she's being a total gold digger, since all she cares about is if a guy is hot and has money. The girl is like, what's so bad about that? In today's world, what good is a guy without a hot face or a rich and powerful family? She explains to her white-haired friend that it would be hard and they'd have problems seeing eye to eye after getting married, even if they love each other. She says that Ran and Meng Meng are just being petty. But if his financial situation isn't good, they're obviously going to have problems right off the bat. A blushing Ran says she's not into him, and they shouldn't worry about it. She's just in a bad mood. Just then, our guy finally realizes that Yan Chuanran is right over there. Our dude immediately walks up and says, what's up? The blonde friend asks him if he's Shen Fan, then asks if he's really trying to shoot his shot with their campus queen. And if so, does he even know how many guys at school are crushing on her? Like, who gave him the guts to even try to get with Ran? This is totally bugging Ran because she knows her girl Meng went way too hard on our dude. But our guy tells her to chill, saying he only went to dinner with her because Auntie Tan asked, and he wasn't trying to make her catch feelings or anything. But peeping the girl with white hair, our MC explains her name is Fei, and she's the one he's got to keep an eye on. 'Cause in his past life, she had a super tragic ending, and he's hoping he can save her this time around. Fei clocks that our dude is staring at her and asks him why he's looking at her. She asks if he knows her or something, but our guy says nah, but that his family was loaded with legit fortune tellers. People say he's a crazy good psychic, which totally shocks them, and our guy explains that even though it's the first time he's seen her, he knows she's an art student and is going to get into the Yanjin Film and Television University in the future. She's totally shook by this, asking our dude how he knew she wanted to go to the University of Yanjin Film and Television. But Meng just totally dismisses our main character's skills. She explains that girl's basically a celebrity at Ivy High, like who doesn't know about her. Meng is basically calling our guy out. She says he's just some kid from Shishui and couldn't win over a girl just by talking a big game. Hearing this, Ran thinks that she thought our guy just liked to flex, but he was actually being straight up. Still, she didn't expect him to be so cocky. But our guy claps back at what Meng said, telling her to believe it or not, he couldn't care less. Fei is bugging out, thinking she literally just told her mom her plan last night and didn't tell a soul, so how could our guy possibly know that she couldn't really grill him about it with the other two around because they're so stubborn, and she's thinking our dude was super weird and had this strange magnetic pull to him. Just then, a whole crew of guys rolls up to the spot. They all seem pretty tight with Meng. The red-haired dude, Meng's boyfriend, asks who our MC is. Meng answers for him. The guy then tells our MC his name is Yan Chao, and his family runs a 5-star hotel. And since our dude is bold enough to go after the campus queen, he must have some insane family background, but that guy is thinking our MC is just some country bumpkin trying to hang with them, probably shook after finding out about his family's status. Our guy just introduces himself as Shen Fan, and the dude tells him he's got some serious nerve. He says they'll see what's up at school. Fei thinks it's a bad idea to mess with Yan Chao, remembering some dude who dissed him once. And Yan Chao had the entire basketball team jump him and break his leg. The guy even ended up dropping out of school. But looking at our main character, he just gives her a sweet smile, making Fei blush, and wonder if he was actually smiling at her. She thought he seemed like a total idiot and was completely clueless. The red-haired guy ends up suggesting they all go to karaoke, and then grab dinner, and after that they'd hit the bar street. He said nobody was going home early tonight. As this red-haired dude grabs Meng, she tells him she heard about a new karaoke bar in the new urban district, and its king room is supposed to be sick. The guy was totally down for it, saying they'd hit that spot. But our MC is thinking they'll probably be out till sunrise, and it's no wonder Auntie Tan was worried. But he had to dip because he had to go treat the old man. But the red-haired kid was out of time and ended up explaining that there was no more room in the rides. telling our guy he should just grab a cab by himself. But my dude was thinking it was so obvious. There were still a ton of empty seats, and he was totally just messing with him. Like, did he really think he was scared to throw down? But then right away, Fei told our guy he should come and sit next to her, since she could make some room for him. Seeing the white-haired girl step up like that really had Ran feeling salty. Cause she wanted to be the one to help him out, asking her what she thought she was doing. And then right on cue, Meng says that Fei was just playing the saint for everyone again. But then she tells our guy he should just go sit next to Fei. He ends up hopping in the car thinking she's actually super kind-hearted just like in his past life. And that's how our boy ended up riding shotgun with the arrogant dude. They finally rolled up to the karaoke bar where the red-haired kid was talking to the manager demanding their best and biggest room. But the manager explains that the king room was already taken by some super important guy. He was there with his VIP guests. The manager was like, the queen room is also top tier, I promise, but the red-haired kid was about to accept. But then his friends and little Meng started giving him heat. The red-haired kid pushed back, telling the guy his dad runs a huge hotel and that he'd owe him a favor down the line. But the manager kept insisting that the queen room was also really good because, well, the queen room was what was available for them and that was that. But right then, his boys start roughing up the manager demanding to know where his boss was. Meanwhile, Ran is totally freaking out, asking why they had to hit him like, is this really the place you want to start beef? I mean, they were gonna get in major trouble. But Meng was trying to chill Ran out, telling her it was all good. She said worst case scenario, they could just hit up Yan Xiao's dad who runs a 5-star hotel and knows a ton of people. So Ran agreed, but then our guy tells Ran that Aunt Tang is waiting for them at home and they gotta bounce. Meng looked super annoyed by this. She asked him what his deal was like. Was he seriously trying to drag Ran away before the party even got started? She ends up telling our guy he could dip if he wanted, but he had to let sweet little Ran stay if that's what she wanted. Hearing this, Ran's thinking, she's got our main character on one side and her bestie on the other, so she had to choose wisely. And right away, Ran tells her friends that since they still wanted to hang out, she was obviously gonna stay. With that, Ran goes with Meng telling our guy he should just go home and tell his mom. This just made Meng give her a kiss. Then Meng tells our protagonist, you heard Ran, now get out of here. But Fei, the white-haired girl, did not like how they were treating our guy at all, and she asks why she was embarrassing him like that. And Ran's like, if I didn't, I'd just tick off Meng and Yang Xiao. Hearing this, our guy thinks that girl is so ungrateful. And just then, someone notices a new person showing up. Like they had to figure out how to handle this, cause a whole crew of sketchy-looking dudes were roughing up Yan Chao's boy. The main sketchy guy was asking who clocked the dude at the front desk. Yan Xiao's blonde friend copped to it like, it was me, so what are you gonna do? And right away the bald dude says they gotta take him, explaining that his boss wanted to see Yan Chao's blonde buddy. They started dragging him off while he was screaming for them to stop asking if they even knew who he was. Yan Chao immediately stepped up to the tall bald guy saying they needed to talk about this. But the bald dude shut him down, asking if he was seriously trying to start trouble. On my boss's turf? Guess we'll have to take you to talk to him too. Which for some reason Yan Chao agreed to. Hearing this, the blonde kid totally freaked out, asks Yan Chao what they should do, like if they were gonna call home. But Yan Chao told him not to sweat it, saying they outnumbered them. At that, Ran, who was super worried, asked what they were supposed to do now, but Meng said that Yan's dad, Xiao, had a ton of connections and there was nothing to be scared of. But our guy didn't leave. He just hung back, thinking he wondered how these idiots were going to handle this situation. So that's how the bald dude ended up bringing Yan Chao to the head honcho, and Yan Chao introduced himself. He said they wanted to borrow the king's suite for the night, but the boss just asked Yan Chao, who the hell are you? Yan Chao immediately dropped his name, explaining his dad was Yan Jifan from the Tianshang Hotel, and that he should do him a solid. But the boss guy just said that even his father would have to humbly call him brother, Hao, when he sees him. At this, Yan Chao wondered who this dude was, and the guy introduced himself as Shou Tian Hao. Everyone got scared except for the main character, who was thinking that this brother Hao was the big boss, who had his hands in both legit and shady stuff. This boss with a crazy rep and skills says, you guys act all cocky, but you're just a bunch of second or third-rate players in my world, asking why they were so full of themselves. And that's when they started wailing on the blonde kid for hitting the receptionist. Like, did he really think he was all that? And immediately the blonde kid could only beg for forgiveness, asking the guard who was hitting him, what do you mean forgive you? He said he'd have to chop off his hand, then maybe he'd forgive him. Right away, Yan Chao thought this was not gonna end well. And even though the guy kinda deserved it, he had to defend him or he'd lose his rep. So Yan Chao ended up telling the boss it was all their fault. He apologized and said they didn't mean to take it so far, but the boss was like, it's no problem. I've had dinner with your dad a few times, explaining that the 3 girls had to stay and have a drink with him while the guys had to leave. This totally freaked out the girls, but right away Yan Chao jumped in, saying Meng was his girlfriend, and asking if he couldn't just let her go, but this just annoyed the boss, who told him to do what he was ordered to do and cut the nonsense. Yan Chao's friends. They knew they couldn't just front on the big boss of their town, but then the boss's girl straight up tells the girls they just gotta have one drink with brother Hao, saying he doesn't bite. Right away the bald dude tells Yan Chao she needed to decide like now. But on the flip side, little Ran is thinking it looks like they couldn't dodge this total embarrassment, and that her dad was a big shot in their town too, even working for the government. So Zhou Tianhao wouldn't dare do a thing to her. Ran was about to take one for the team, and just as the bald guy moved in on them, our MC stepped in the way, calling him Brother Hao, and saying those two were his friends, so he should do him a solid and let them bounce. Ran totally freaking out, for our boy asked him what he was even doing, like if he was completely nuts, saying it could all be sorted out if she just had a drink with him, or, they apologized. But the boss asks our MC who he even is to be asking for favors, and our guy just tells him he's someone he really doesn't want to mess with. At this, the boss just laughs, asking how he could possibly not mess with him. Like, was there anyone in his town that he couldn't touch? That boss tells our MC that he ain't walking out that door and orders him to shut his trap or else. They just straight up beat him down. And just like that, the bald dude got in our MC's face, saying he asked for this himself. So get this, that bald dude was Shu Tianhao's #1 fighter who got out of a military prison for having a crazy temper and was locked up for seriously messing up his trainer in the army. And this guy had been a huge part of the wins for Shu Tianhao over the last 10 years. So yeah, the big bald dude moved in to throw down with our protagonist. And when Chu Ranfei was telling our guy to be careful, he just calmly told him not to sweat it, that it was nothing to him. Our hero easily blocked the dude's attack, and the guy's thinking his punch could blast a hole through a door. So how did this kid stop it? Stepping back, he thinks it actually hurt him. He's wondering if our MC practices kung fu, which would explain why he was so bold. So then this dude puts on some iron knuckles. He comes at him again, but our MC is thinking he doesn't have any personal beef with the guy. But he was being way too brutal, so they couldn't blame him for getting ruthless. And that's when our protagonist clapped back. It cuts to the guy's henchman, or boss Hao's, getting decked by our protagonist right as he lunged to attack. He goes down right in front of his boss, and that boss Hao dude was looking pretty shook. He immediately orders the rest of his crew to jump our protagonist with their blades. Our hero just thought to himself, what a bunch of clowns! And then he moved. Blazing through the group at super speed, he easily knocked them all out. And with the guys on the floor, their whole bodies aching, men thought our protagonist was insane. Like, how is it possible he won? Was this some kind of TV show? Now, sitting across from the boss, our protagonist asks Zhou Tianhao what he thinks of him now, while that boss is thinking that our guy just took down a dozen of his best men right here in his own town. For like over 10 years, but skills like that are super rare. Right away, this dude tells the MC that he's got some moves for sure, but like, how's he gonna deal with a weapon? He's all like, in today's world, having sick kung fu skills isn't as intimidating as getting sent to jail, which he could do with just one phone call. And with that, the MC ends up thinking, is this guy seriously threatening me? Guess I'll have to use a magic trick and take him out on the down low. He tells his crew they need to dip first, because he's gonna stay and play with the guy. So Boss Hao was cool with the MC's friends, bouncing, saying he couldn't wait to see the MC squirm. Everyone took off but Sharam Fei, who's totally crushing on and worried about the MC, didn't want to leave. Ran had to drag her out, and after they left, she was thinking, no wonder the MC is so gutsy. But still, you can't just solve everything with your fists. Meanwhile, the MC was thinking everything was cool now that Jan Churndan and Churndown Fei were gone. Now he just had to use his magic trick to get rid of the others without, making a scene. But before he could do anything, he gets a call from Zhao Qi, who's like Old Man Wei's right-hand man. Right away, the guy tells the MC it's Zhao Qi, and he's at the gate of the lakeside community where our boy supposedly lives. But the MC tells Zhao he's not there, explaining he's in the new city district because he ran into a little trouble. Hearing this, Zhao Qi got worried about the MC, asking what's up, and if he could spill the tea on what happened. Super chill, leaning on his ride, he was like, honestly, even though I'm just Mr. Wei's bodyguard, I can totally handle some minor drama in Chow Chow, no sweat. After hearing that, the MC explains it's no big deal. His friends just got into it with some dude called Brother Hao. And Zhao Qi's like, wait, are you talking about Yao Tianhao, which the MC confirms, asking if he knows the guy. Then Zhao Qi asks the MC if he's at the Real Entertainment karaoke spot, saying he'll be there in like 10 minutes, and to tell Yao Tianhao to wait up. This gets the MC thinking that it looks like this Zhao Qi guy knows Zhao Tianhao, and he's wondering if they've got some kind of weird connection or something. On top of all that, he's wondering if he should just take them out or wait for Zhao Ti to show up. So then Zhao Tianhao asks the MC if he's calling for backup, saying he wants to see who he's got on the line. His girlfriend chimes in like, everyone knows who Zhao Tianhao is, who would even dare show up here. But the MC just explains that his friend said he'd be there in 10 minutes and tells him to just wait. So Zhao Tianhao is like, aight, fine, saying he'll wait the 10 minutes and wondering who in the world isn't afraid to die. After a bit, you can clearly hear something going down outside. It's the guards trying to stop Zhao Qi, but he just knocks him out, which totally shocks Zhao Tianhao, who's just stunned, asking Zhao Qi why he's there. But Zhao Qi just straight up ignores him, asking the main character if he was good and if they messed him up. But he's like, how could those bugs even touch me? Yao Qi just nods, explaining that like even 10 times more of them would be no match for our boy and his skills. And he was totally overthinking it, but it didn't take him long to start roasting Zhao Tianhao, asking him, like, who gave him the nerve to mess with Mr. Wei's friend? This totally shocks Zhao Tianhao, who's like, wait, is the MC friends with Mr. Wei? Yao Qi lays it all out, saying Mr. Wei himself sent him to scoop up the main character for dinner. with his special ride and was all like, "Why you thinking I'm capping?" Tianhao totally backed down thinking about the special government whip, and Mr. Wei's top-tier bodyguard came to get him, which meant he was totally screwed. He immediately bows his head to the MC, explaining he had no clue that he was Mr. Wei's guest, and that he shouldn't have treated him like that. At this, the girl with him was shook, thinking she thought Tianhao had some serious backup. But plot twist, the backup was there to back up the main character. She was wondering if the MC was actually friends with Mr. Wei. Yao Qi then asks the main character how he thinks they should handle this whole mess. And the MC is like, letting it slide for Yao Qi's sake is cool, since they're boys, saying he didn't really care anyway. He tells Yao Qi that since he knows the guy, they should just drop it, and tells Tianhao to dead the issue tonight. But if he wasn't cool with that, he was always ready to throw down. Tianhao was like, nah, saying he wouldn't mess with him again. Right away, Yao Qi tells the MC they should dip from there. And after they bounced, Tianhao was just thinking he had the worst luck that day. After a bit, the main character got to the spot where Yao Qi was supposed to take him to meet Old Man Wei, and the MC was thinking that this place was the Yanbei Military Sanatorium, thinking that Weibo or Mr. Wei was a seriously big deal. So that's how Yao Qi and Shen Fa linked up with Mr. Wei and his granddaughter, who asks the MC if he's not gonna treat her grandpa. Like, why didn't he bring any medical gear? But the MC says his treatment doesn't use acupuncture or any of that hands-on therapy stuff, then hands a piece of a leaf to Mr. Wei, telling him he just had to look at it. The second Mr. Wei peeped the leaf the main character gave him, he was totally floored. The granddaughter is like, what in the world did he just show you? But without even answering his granddaughter, Mr. Wei immediately faced the MC and bowed his head, thanking him for being so kind, saying he'd never forget it. But the MC tells him not to even sweat it, that the old man got that injury defending his country and he couldn't just sit back and do nothing now that he'd met him. The granddaughter asks her grandpa why he suddenly gave a whole salute to the MC for no reason, and right away her grandpa tells her that he can explain it to Qi King. The main character agreed to it, explaining to the granddaughter that her grandpa's injury was basically a two-parter. First off, he totally forced his inner power and messed himself up, but he never got it checked out, so his lungs were basically wrecked for good. And reason number two, the inner strength technique he was doing was literally bugged. It was jacking up his lungs, and every little injury just kept stacking up whenever he used it, turning into a major chronic sickness. Hearing this, the girl's like, wait, are my lungs messed up too since I'm doing the same martial art? But the MC tells her that theoretically her power level is way too low for that to even be a thing, for her lungs to be that jacked up. The girl gets all salty, asking if she's supposed to be grateful for being a noob. But the old dude cuts in, saying that when he first learned that martial art, for the first time from his family's elders, they mentioned there was a catch, but he was just super lucky to even have an inner force technique to practice. Who cared if it wrecked his lungs or not? If he wasn't so hyped to learn it, he would have taken the secrets of that busted technique to the grave. That's why he taught his granddaughter, basically, because she wouldn't stop bugging him about it. But then the main character just gave him this guide that not only fixes the flaw, but even has a bunch of way higher levels. So now the Wei family is about to have a major glow-up, all thanks to the new levels of that martial art the protagonist hooked them up with. At this, the granddaughter says she doesn't remember him ever teaching her their family's martial arts. She's like, how did the protagonist even figure out how to mod it? And the old man says that's what makes a true martial arts master so epic, that the MC just took one look and knew exactly what was up. The MC shuts that down, explaining he's just a cultivator. A Dao cultivator. But the old guy's like, nah, with skills like that, you're basically a grandmaster. But yo, the treatment wasn't even over yet. Cause our MC pulls out a bunch of pills from his pocket, explaining that these little pills were for boosting your spirit, and there were 10 in total. He had to take them right on schedule, syncing them up with the patch techniques, and he'd be completely healed. The MC then explains that unfortunately, the ingredients for the Major League Spirit pills are super rare. They can even bring people back from the other side. That's what these pills he gave them could do, explaining that the messed up lungs would be no problem at all for his pills. Then the super rude granddaughter just snatches the pills right out of the MC's hand. She asks the MC if he's just capping, how could they bring people back to life? Isn't that just some made-up fairy tale? The MC just shrugs believe it or don't, whatever. Right away, the old man, Wei, asks the MC if he can spill the ingredients, cause he could have his crew go round them up for him. The MC is cool with it, saying nobody else could craft them anyway. As he's writing down the recipe, the MC thinks to himself that pills like these spirit-boosting ones have to be made with some seriously exclusive methods from the immortal cultivation realm, and a regular dude couldn't pull it off, even if they tried 1,000,000 times. Looking at the recipe the MC handed him, Old Man Wei says that for real this stuff is going to be hard to get even for his Wei family. Still, he says he'll do his best. The MC is like, bet that's the move, and tells him he needs to finish up the treatment. And he wanted to hit him up about the whole martial arts scene, and with that the old dude's he was totally expecting him to ask. A little later, and just like that, the old dude spilled all the tea on what the martial arts world is like these days. Then our boy, staring out the car window on the way home, starts thinking to himself, so the whole martial arts legacy has a super long history, and the legend says it was originally a technique for leveling up your ki. And the old dude doesn't know a ton, cause for him practicing martial arts was just a family thing, kinda like a hobby, but he said it got a major glow up later on. It evolved into all sorts of different inner strength arts and attack and defense styles. The old dude told our MC that the last time the martial arts world was really popping off was at the end of the Ming Dynasty, and the start of the Qing Dynasty when experts and masters were literally everywhere. Then guns and cannons showed up, and martial arts started to fall off hard. Now master-level fighters have become super rare, and there are 3 stages for martial artists' external strength: internal power and sublimity, and most fighters now are stuck on stage 1. But like almost no one is at stage 2. As for a sublimity master with a key shield that can block actual firearms, besides our boy, he's only ever seen one. And there are rumors of another level even higher than sublimity. But nobody's ever seen it. Anyway, none of that was the MC's problem. He was just looking at a key the old dude had given him, thinking that the key he got wasn't bad, but for sure he deserved a sick reward, cause this was like the ultimate trust for helping out a supreme immortal. But on the flip side, there was the old dude's granddaughter, telling her grandpa that it was the key to a top-tier house in the Yungu Villa, and it was a gift from the richest guy in Chucho to her third uncle, and he gave it to him himself. She was like, yeah, the MC healed your injury, but was it really necessary to give him such a bougie house? The old man tells her she just doesn't get it that the modified arts alone are priceless, and on top of that, his granddaughter had zero clue what a real martial arts master was. So she just asks, so what can he like, tank bullets, cannons, or even missiles? The old man says it wasn't that simple. He said the MC Shen Fan was on the same level as the military legend Jin Nantian, even though he's super young, and they wanted to keep him on their side. Hearing that our boy was being compared to Jin, Nantian the granddaughter was totally shook, just staring up at the sky, finally getting that the MC Shen Fan was destined to be a big deal. After a bit, they finally rolled up to their spot, with Xiaomi telling the MC that according to his orders they were supposed to go to the Yongkok Villa, but now they were at the lakeside community where our boy was staying. After they got there and hopped out of the car, the MC gets a call. It was little Ran Ran on the line asking our boy if he was okay, cause she wanted to invite him to dinner, saying Shang Yuman and Sherman Fei would be there too, but the MC just hangs up. He tells her it's all good and not to bother him about it anymore. She gets super pissed. Ran Ran realizes he straight up hung up on her and complains that the MC was such a cocky jerk after all. Yeah, but later she's just laying on her bed all blushy-faced, hugging her knees and thinking it was kinda hot when he took on those guys, fighting all those dudes and looking like a total hero. 3 chill days go by and our boy is back to leveling up his skills. He's thinking that after a few days of grinding in private, he's totally maxed out the first stage of his foundation building. He's just 1 step away from the next level. But still rolling up to school, he thinks he has to be there for his mom. He had to go register just to make her happy. And that's how our MC ended up at Ivy International School. It's this super bougie private school decked out with the sickest facilities, the best teachers, and it's got a huge rep. So he walks into his classroom and bam, there's this dude with blue hair. The guy asks him if he's looking for someone, and then like instantly the blue-haired dude is totally shook when he realizes our MC is his desk mate, saying he was hoping for a hot girl to sit there. But instead he got our guy. A little later, the teacher calls on him to introduce himself. He gives like the most basic intro ever. All his classmates are thinking it's not even worth getting to know him since he's so vanilla. But his new buddy, the dude with the blue hair, tells our MC that his intro was way too lame. Like, how's he supposed to pull any girls if he doesn't even try, immediately saying he couldn't care less. And introducing himself as Yan Yan Q, who's nicknamed the Nightclub Prince, cause like there wasn't a single club in the city he didn't know. The MC tells him he already knows his name, which totally made the dude's day. He's thinking his rep must precede him. And as he gets close to the MC's ear, he starts whispering stuff while our boy is just thinking that this blue-haired dude wasn't just his deskmate, but he was also his bestie in his past life. Like when the MC hit rock bottom, he was the only one who had his back. But still, that same good friend ended up messing someone up over a girl and got locked up for 7 years, completely wrecking his entire life. And both of them just managed to drink away their problems. I mean, they just ended up as total train wrecks, and that dude used to say that if he could get a do-over, he'd never throw his life away for that chick. The MC is thinking that in this new life, he's gonna do whatever it takes to protect his friends. While our guy was totally zoned out in his thoughts. His friend asks the MC why he's so quiet, but the MC just says he was listening to him. Then the guy himself says he's gotta show him his real skills, and that the girls in their class weren't half bad. But the hottest one of them all was the class monitor Sheng Wen. She was gonna be the host for the campus night, and only Shuren Fei and Yan Shuren, or Little Ran Ran as we call her, are the 2 campus queens, and they're like a little bit cuter. That the class pres Sheng Wen was telling his friend like it's a no-brainer that Sherman Fei is already a low-key celeb model. She even landed a side role in a TV show, and word is she can totally afford a BMW. With the cash she makes in a year, she's doing better than 99% of the students in China, the MC thought. He wondered how his buddy would flip out if he told him she was almost his girl in his past life. The MC's friend was like, dude, don't even think about her, she's not even into me, let alone you. The MC thought to himself that his friend hadn't changed at all, still running his mouth about stuff he knows nothing about. His friend started explaining to the MC that Xiao Wang, the class supervisor, had a thing for this guy named Shi Qingqia, saying that dude was way too cocky to even give her a look. Pointing to some student who looked like a total superstar, he said, that's the principal's golden boy. And he even won some award at a national math competition and got a special recommendation to get into Joaquin and Yanqing universities. Now he's basically the school's treasure. The scene picks up with Jin Shay walking into class because his teacher told him to. His friend was saying that the guy was also a forward on the school basketball team, and all the hot cheerleaders are totally obsessed with him and Yan Chao. But that Jin Xia dude was totally crushing on Shuri and Ron, the same girl who was into our main character. So his friend asks what he thinks of this star player, but the MC says he doesn't really see what the big deal is. The MC's thinking that in his past life, Jin Xia was definitely the guy all the dudes in school were jealous of, even him, but in this life he was way less important than Yan Tan Q. Hearing that the MC's friend told him he was being pretty full of himself, he admitted he didn't like the guy either, but he was seriously incredible. After class ended, that girl, one Jane, came over to them saying the school basketball team was having a practice game during lunch, and Yan Tan Q and Chen, well, our boy, had to go with them to pass out drinks, which the MC's friend was not happy about. He grumbled that she was just trying to show off for Xin Chia, but now they had to run around like servants. The MC's friend points out Yan Chao, saying he's the tallest and a total beast on the team. His dad is the general manager of the Tiancheng Hotel. And at King Love one time he brought the whole basketball team to basically rearrange some guy's leg. But the school just let it slide like it was nothing. His friend told the MC, totally jealous. He was like, if we could just be that privileged one day, we'd be set for life. The supervisor, who's crushing on Jin Seong, finally came over and snapped at the MC and his friend. What are you two waiting for? You're supposed to be handing out drinks to the other players. The MC just went with it, tossing a drink over to Yan Xiao, who was totally surprised to see that our main character was the one who threw it. The MC just gives him a casual nod, saying long time no see to the arrogant dude. Yan Xiao, who peeped the main character's real power, was like, I'd bet, agreeing with what he said and mentioning it's been a few days. But on the flip side, the dude who was basically the school's golden boy shows up. He's like, wait, isn't that Yan Tan and the new kid? You know, our guy and his bestie? So the school's star gets pulled aside by Yan Chao, who asks him if he knows the girl, the queen of the class. The girl, our guy's friend, is crushing on Chimes and saying his name's Shen Fan, the new kid in their class, and he's just some broke loser she can boss around. But Yan Xiao is thinking something totally different, and just keeps quiet watching our main character. Right then, this girl Shang Wen walks up to our dude telling him the school team's got a game. It was that night since a few days had gone by, and our guy was supposed to go haul their gear. But our guy straight up refused, like, nah, I'm not going. This totally ticked off Wansheng, who was like, what did you just say? Like, how dare he not listen to her? And our boy doubles down, saying that game is the school team's problem, so she should hit up the sports department, cause what's it got to do with him? Our guy was thinking how she's from some rich family, she's the class monitor, and acts all high and mighty like a princess. And only A-listers like Shin Chia could even get her to chill out a little. So how could some basic new kid, who's a total nobody like our guy, dare to turn her down? Like, you really think this game isn't a big deal? At all. But our dude just kept shutting her down, totally ghosting her. Then all of a sudden, this one guy from the taekwondo team gets in our guy's face, asking if he's really trying to disrespect the school team. But our main character just looks at him and is like, aren't you gizzin' you? The sports rep, a bench warmer for the school team. This totally gets under that arrogant dude's skin. But Jin Sia, the guy that arrogant girl is crushing on, was watching the whole thing go down. Our guy's friend tells that bro Yu that they need to chill and cut the main character some slack. Cause he's new and doesn't know the deal, so he shouldn't take it so seriously. Then he tells our guy that he should just carry the stuff, that they could do it together. But our dude was still like, nope, telling his friend if he wanted to, he could go by himself cause he wasn't going no matter what. Meanwhile, the arrogant dude tells our guy he's got nerve, saying the last person with that much nerve, like him, got their leg messed up and he can't wait to wipe that smug look off his face. Our main character just tells him to bring it whenever he's ready. A little later, the teacher walks in and announces there's a taekwondo class that afternoon, and if anyone wants to join, they gotta pay the fee for the gear. And the class fee too. If not, they were free to just bounce and go home. Hearing this, our guy says taekwondo class sounds super lame and that he's heading home, but he gets cut off by the dude who was talking trash earlier. He's like, yo, you can't just leave. Why aren't you even staying for the taekwondo class? Our dude just tells him it's none of his business. The guy keeps pushing, asking our main character if it's cause he's too broke to pay for the class. The gear in the class, saying he'd even pay for it if the dude just sat out from class activities. He couldn't get mad if he told Miss Shu it would tank his grade for the semester. So our boy showed up to that class, and during taekwondo, his bestie starts talking. He's like, taekwondo is a huge deal at our school for real. Spilling the tea that the coach won second place at nationals and is totally legit. But then he's like, Jishin Yu dragged you to this class probably just to clown on you in front of everyone. And for the love of God, just ignore him. My dude was grateful for the heads up, and right then, the coach walks in saying everyone needs to warm up first and then spar one-on-one. And that's how two students, the star player and Jishin Yu, ended up sparring. All the girls were totally crushing on those guys who were fighting like total badasses. Then like right away, the coach says they gotta practice with their assigned partners, and boom, the guy who called out our MC tells the coach that before they start, he wants to challenge someone, pointing right at our boy. He's like, weren't you talking big at lunch? You got the guts to throw down with me? Everyone was bugging. wondering why he was calling out. A white belt. The coach even asks him if he's for real, like if he's sure he wants to do this. Challenge a dude with a white belt explaining that because of the massive skill gap our boy had every right to say no. But the dude keeps pressing him, saying he was acting all high and mighty at lunch. You gonna chicken out now? But our guy just stands up, walks over, and is like, I don't even know Taekwondo. The other guy's cool with that and tells him to use whatever skills he's got, he'll take him on. So the dude asks our boy if he's scared, but our MC just asks, so does this mean I gotta fight you? The guy tells him, just a heads up, don't act tough if you're scared. Ivy High. Ain't the place for some hick from a dead-end town like you to be showing off. And yeah, our boy was not feeling that. He claps back. I'm just worried you won't be able to handle my hit. And right away, the other guy yells to everyone that our MC said he couldn't take his attack. How sick is that? Like, how ridiculous can you get? With that, the arrogant dude throws a kick into the air to flex on our boy, asking him, see how much better I am than you. Our boy just deadpans. That's pretty impressive, but totally useless in a real fight. That totally ticked off all the other students, even the star girl. When the guy lunged at our MC, he just dodged it super easily, and totally fed up with this dude's attitude, our boy just lifts his leg. He saw the other guy put his guard up, but no matter how ready he tried to be, he got totally wrecked by our boy's kick, which completely shocked his best friend. He was like, did my dude just win? And everyone started saying Jishin Yu was super weak, that he couldn't even beat the new guy. And the snooty girl in class is thinking Jishin Yu was just all talk and then couldn't even take one kick from our boy, making him a total loser. Then the star student walks up, asking his friend if he's okay, and then he turns to the main character and is like, dude, we're all classmates, why'd you have to hit him so hard? But our guy just says he was the one who started it. He came at me. You think it'd be cool if I was the one who got rocked? The dude keeps pushing it, saying, since you're so strong, how about you take my challenge? This totally shocked everyone, even the class monitor, who was about to say something, but he stopped her, thinking that the main character's kick was actually insane. The speed and power were on a whole other level, not like a normal person's. But still, he's been training in this sport since he was a kid and worked his butt off for over 10 years, so there's no way he could lose to this guy. But our boy just asks him straight up, so you want to fight me? Because you know once we start, we're not stopping. The crowd ends up saying that our guy's kick wasn't even all that impressive. But on the other hand, the coach is like, all right, since you're both students, you can go at it if you want, but don't take it too far. Know when to stop. But secretly, the teacher was thinking that kick was all flash and no substance, and that he'd let his star student teach the MC a lesson for being so cocky. Our guy, getting into his stance, looks at the star student and just says, bring it. Those words really ticked him off, and a second later, he didn't waste any time. The dude throws a heavy kick at the main character, and our boy thinks, this Chienji guy isn't half bad. He was almost as good as Biao, just without the real-world experience. Meanwhile, the girls were totally swooning over Shinchia, saying how amazing he was, while the teacher was thinking he's a 4th-degree black belt now, and with that kick he just threw, he's definitely got this in the bag. But then we see our protagonist is just smiling, because that kick was literally nothing to him. The star student was wondering how the heck the main character was dodging all his hits and why he was so damn good, while our boy just kept blocking every single attack. The guy was getting totally pissed, realizing he was no match for the MC. After he backs off, our guy says, all right, you've thrown a bunch of kicks. How about you take one of mine? The coach barely managed to yell, watch out! But it was way too late for him to get his guard up, and just like that, the star student got rocked by a massive hit from our protagonist. The punch looked like it had some kind of Kai energy in it and sent him flying. While the guy was laid out on the floor, the class monitor was super worried about Shinchia, but our guy tells her not to sweat it. He'll just be tired for a day or so. But she's totally holding a grudge now. The protagonist then looked at the other students and asked, so anyone else want some? And challenged him, saying his skills were just flashy and nothing real. Just some eye candy moves with no actual substance, and that unless he could train with some real big-name masters, he still wouldn't be on the main character's level even after another 10 years of practice, like for real. He told the dude straight up he'd never be his rival no matter how hard he trained. Right after our guy grabs his buddy, saying they needed to go get some grub. And his friend was totally stoked, just thinking that the main character was actually a total savage. No wonder he didn't even give Shinchia the time of day, since Shinchia couldn't even take one of his hits. And that's how the rumor started spreading all over school that Shen Fan, this new transfer student, was definitely not your average dude. Even the main character seemed to have his own little fan club watching his every move. They were telling all the other guys that this Shinigami dude was better than the main character at sports school and even piano, so they shouldn't feel so down about it. So a few days go by, and Shinigami bumps into Yan Chao, who's like, yo, I noticed you've been totally out of it lately. He asks what was up, and Shinigami just says it's nothing for real. But then they start spilling the tea that the main character totally owned the great Shinigami in the Taekwondo gym, and now he's strutting around class with his whole crew of fangirls. But on the flip side, the class monitor is saying our guy is just some loser who can throw hands and that's it. And that he can't even touch Shinigami when it comes to schoolwork, family background, or even looks. He's just totally outclassed. Yeah, but the furious Seijin Sia was totally bugging, thinking that the main character was actually better than him, at least at fighting. But he didn't think he'd lose in other stuff, which was backed up by this one kiss-up who said that the next day was the welcome party, and the final performance was all his, so he needed to totally kill it on stage. And show the main character who's really in charge. The scene continues with the red-haired dude who was Sijin Sia. He was thinking that our guy was someone who could even go up against the big boss Shou Tianhao. But he figured it was better not to say anything and wreck his confidence even more. Meanwhile, the main character was just chillin' with his friend, who was telling him that the welcome party was the next night, and that Shirome would definitely be performing. Right then, one of Sijin Sia's cronies walked by and asked if he was still crushing on Shirong Fei. He was like, "She's Sijin Sia's girl, so you better stop dreamin'." And then our guy claps back, telling that shameless dude that he heard she only liked him as a friend, so it was kinda hard to say who she'd actually fall for. Anyway, time skips to the welcome night and we see them introducing the welcome performance with Shirong Fei, who was accompanied by Shirin Ji. And every time Shirong Fei danced, he played the piano for her. So Shirong Fei started doing the Lonely Swan dance, and those two had the whole crowd going wild. It was all 'cause of how perfectly they vibed together during the dance. Everyone was thinking they were the perfect couple, which made our guy's friend comment that she had this super graceful vibe like a real ballerina, but Shinigami was just trying to get with his goddess. Our main character was not feeling that at all, and was like, "That's enough, let's bounce." He thought he'd be cool just seeing her solo dance. But then his friend points out that Shirong Fei looked like she was coming over to them. But our boy was about to bounce when someone was like, "Yo, that's a total bummer." Like, how could the legendary Master Shen dip so early without even saying sup to the duo, the two MVPs of the welcome party? The second she spotted our MC, she totally ditched everything and sprinted right for him. And he just welcomed her with open arms, which left everyone, even Shijin Sia, completely shook. She could see what a fire couple they made while Shirome was hugging the main character. The two of them were giving each other major heart eyes, making Shirome blush like crazy. She was all, "I'm just glad you're okay," and he thanked her for it. But then they said their goodbyes. Super quick, because she was totally embarrassed. Everyone was bugging out like, did Shirome Fei just hug the main character? They were asking how that was even possible since he's just some random transfer student. Meanwhile, Shinigami was absolutely fuming. Cut to the next day, and literally all eyes are on our guy. They were all thinking he was just some nobody from the sticks, but turns out he's not just a beast in a fight. He's also got that riz that pulls in all the campus hotties. His bro told him that he literally dissed and shamelessly clowned on Shinigami, who had a look of pure rage on his face, saying he turned bright red. Like beet red and just froze up. No one could get him to move for a solid 10 minutes. But our MC, hearing all this, just thinks it was a total misunderstanding. Like, how could Shirome Fei be into him? But then again, she was waiting for him. The thing is, our boy knows he's catching feelings for Shirome Fei. But he's in denial because he's got other stuff on his mind. Meanwhile, some dude was getting the tea on the whole situation. He's wondering how it's even possible because Shirome wasn't even into guys like Shumenhui or Jinxia. So how could she fall for some random transfer student? He's thinking maybe he should tell Shumenhui that he's the national defense student. The one who's still getting special forces training in the army. I mean, after all, he's not just the son of the military region's commander. He's also Shirome Fei's #1 fan. But anyway, moving on from that drama, about half a month later, our MC is up at night. He was on a terrace leveling up his skills, thinking that finally the power-up he'd been stuck on, since the first day of school, was finally about to have a breakthrough that very night. Looks like tonight's the night he's gonna hit the intermediate stage of the foundation establishment, or so he's thinking. He's thinking that usually you don't even need to absorb the essence of the sun and the moon during the foundation establishment stage. The arts of the void body refinement are just way too OP. And if you've got enough power, you can even refine the void itself and suck it up for energy. After popping a few pills, our boy thinks he's got a pretty good vibe going because he can feel himself finally hitting that next stage. The intermediate level of the foundation establishment? He's thinking next up he's got to get that bag to cook up some more pills. But then out of nowhere he sees he's getting a call from a blocked number. He was pretty shocked to see it was Shou Tianhao. So you know that big boss our boy totally wrecked just by having Mr. Hu, that old dude, around? Well, Chao Tianhao, the guy he met at the park, hits him up saying he wants to grab lunch. The next day our main character is thinking he can totally use this opportunity. You know, to ask him about ways to make some cash. After a bit, he rolls up to where Zhao Tianhao is at. Hao is all hyped to see him, and our dude's like, "Yo, who messed you up?" Turns out it was an internal injury from that kick he landed. So our MC straight up asks Zhao Tianhao if he for real needs his help. And the guy is like, he's actually got a minor problem. And since they're basically family, he's gonna keep it 100 with him. He says some old rival of his went abroad years ago, just came back, wrecked his business, and even tried to take him out. Our boy's like, "Look, if this is some gang beef, I'm not a cop." But Chao Tianhao says it's not a fight for turf. He says the dude learned kung fu from who knows where, doesn't want money. He wants his life and is dead set on erasing him. And calling the cops is useless. So our MC asks, "Alright, so how do my skills stack up against his?" And Zhao Tianhao's like, his skills are insane, saying he's never seen a master on that level, and that he might even be better than our guy. This totally shocks our dude, and he's thinking that this is a legit inner strength battle for real. Right then, Zhao Tianhao tells him that dude wants to meet up at Heart Lake Island. And if our MC can help him out, he'll get a massive reward, which gets our protagonist thinking that this is a golden opportunity to make some bank. So he asks Zhao Tianhao if he's talking like 100,000. But the guy denies it, saying he'll pay a whole million and the extra is his way of saying sorry, With that, our MC thinks that even though the guy wasn't real enough to pay up front, he'd still like to see this inner strength fighter in action. And just like that, he accepts. But then right away, Xiao Tianhao gets up to welcome some Master Guo, and our dude thinks, yeah, I figured I wasn't the only one he called. Immediately, Xiao Tianhao tells our MC that this is Master Guo Wei, the master from the Guangchen School of Kung Fu. And he's supposedly the #1 martial artist in Suzhou. Then this Master Guo disrespectfully asks if he's also hiring a teenager and isn't our guy just gonna get himself wrecked? But right then, Xiao Tianhao tells Master Guo that our boy is actually pretty capable, which totally doesn't convince him. He says the enemy is way too powerful and can't be handled by some kid basically dissing our protagonist. He was literally getting clowned on for his age. Master Guo then quickly asks if our boy has ever even heard about inner strength fighters, which even shocked Xiao Tianhao's bodyguard. Master Guo finishes by saying if the enemy didn't have inner strength, how could he have snapped his arm with just one hit? His power was beyond the limits of a normal human body. Hearing this, Xiao Tianhao's bodyguard says that when he was learning the first stance, he heard that you barely get one inner strength fighter for every 10,000 students, which Master Guo confirms is no cap. Saying a dude like that could totally waste him before he even got a shot off Xiao Tianhao was just asking if that wasn't total cap. But then Master Guo flexed his power and straight up dented the table, asking Xiao Tianhao if that was that inner strength stuff, which totally blew his mind, thinking if that had hit a person, it would have done some serious damage. But our MC watching all this just thought the whole thing was kinda lame. The punch he landed on that old willow tree after he first powered up was way crazier than that. Right away, Xiao Tianhao was he dared any dude to mess with him while he had the master on his side. Guo next to him telling Lin Bao that he scrapped with Worrell for a long time over turf good turf. But he took the L and bounced, and he never expected him to come back with legit kung fu skills. Xiao Tianhao tells Master Guo that was just the down payment, and there'd be more when this was all over, cause he paid this guy up front and not the main character, because our boy didn't really show him anything after getting the advance. For that payment, the MC was thinking this dude just wanted to get in good with the Wei family, which is super clutch cause of the power they have in the city. And after they got to the spot master, Guo tells the MC that it doesn't matter how good he is at scrapping, he could never tank a hit from a master with inner strength. And that made even Xiao Tianhao look down on our boy, not even knowing what to say to him. The MC just clapped back that his one job was to protect Xiao Tianhao at that moment. He explained that the whole inner strength power and all that jazz is just a bunch of hype, which really ticked off Master Guo, who called the MC clueless and cocky and said if he tagged along, he better be ready to get himself killed. After a bit, the MC is walking and thinking that Xiao Tianhao wasn't dumb for hiring a bunch of fighters. But then Xiao Tianhao ran into someone, leaving Master Guo just sitting there. But right away, they hear a bunch of noise outside the shack where he was asking Xiao Tianhao if that's an enemy rolling up. He explained he had a dozen of his boys outside, but they all got totally wrecked. Cause his #1 op, this guy named Lin Bao, had just arrived. Lin Bao rolls up and asks why his bro, Howard, isn't happy to see an old friend telling Xiao that the scar and the bullet wound he gave him that year were still there and that he'd never forget that moment. That's why he'd been grinding like crazy, practicing martial arts all these years just for this day. Xiao Tianhao tells him not to think he can do whatever he wants, just because he leveled up his inner strength. To which Lin Bao asks if he even knows what inner strength is, and if so, why not just give up the fight? But right in front of Xiao Tianhao, Master Guo immediately stood up, explaining he was the owner of the Wei Shen Kung Fu School, Master Guo Wei from Xinji, and asked who his master was. To that, Lin Bao told him to cut the crap, saying his master lives overseas, and his death was going to be quick. That really set off Master Guo, who told him he'd gone way too far. And just like that, those two started throwing hands and watching them go at it. All Tony could do was stare. Toshu Tianhao was like, yo, was that for real, their inner fighting strength? He was thinking it was completely insane, just praying to God that Master Owl would win, otherwise he wouldn't live to tell the tale. He wouldn't even see the next day. But then we see that Master Owl seemed to be in a real tight spot. A super tough one, actually. Backing up, he says he didn't expect it. That he'd already hit the final stage of inner strength, which is why he totally underestimated Lin Bao. Lin Bao shot back like, how could a frog in a well know how big the world is? He explained that he got super lucky. He got to be a student of some martial arts master, and was a merc overseas risking his neck for years, and that's why he hit the final stage. The final stage of inner strength so fast. Hearing this, Master Owl was completely shook, saying it was no wonder he lost. It was a fair L. At that, a freaked out Xiao Tianhao says to him, Bro Lin, now that you're back with those amazing kung fu skills, it's the perfect time for you to flex, you know. He said they should split everything 50-50, asking if he was cool with that. But Lin Bao just asks him if he really thinks he still wants his pathetic little property. And as he started walking toward Xiao Tianhao, that bodyguard couldn't do a single thing. He tried to step in but got easily yeeted. Super far with just one punch. Getting closer to Xiao Tianhao, Lin Bao tells him he's got more turf overseas than he does in this place, telling Xiao Tianhao he's way too clueless, like a frog at the bottom of a well. Xiao Tianhao could only beg, saying that if he gets taken out third master, Wei wouldn't let him off the hook. With that, Xiao Tianhao literally starts kissing his feet. He tells Lin Bao, so what if it's the Wei family? You think they're gonna chase you overseas? By then you'll be a king. At this, the guy just drops to his knees crying. But while he was bawling his eyes out, Lin Bao was just laughing. But then out of nowhere, our MC tells Zhao Tianhao he'll save his life if he gives him more than 10,000. At that, Lin Bao gets super ticked off and asks who the heck just said that. The protagonist tells Zhao Tianhao that as long as he promises him that cash, he'll get Lin Bao out of his way. Lin Bao could only say that the protagonist was all talk, asking, "And who even are you?" But our boy said this dude was just at the final stage of inner strength, and maybe his master was worthy of a fight with him. Hearing this, a seriously pissed Lin Bao tells the MC, "Are you dissing my master? You're totally asking for it. I'm gonna rip your head off and feed it to the fish in the lake." Everyone thought the main character was completely buggin', but the protagonist just asked Lin Bao if he was capping or not, and while prepping an attack, he says, "I've got a blade that can slay the world," and flashing an energy sword, he leaves Lin Bao completely frozen. Who's this dude thinking he's all that, unleashing his inner power and telling our MC a martial arts master has no business being here? This guy was ready to just dip, thinking our MC was some kind of god-tier master at the top of his game. Like a martial arts legend who could probably take out 10,000 dudes on his level without breaking a sweat. And he was super young and totally needed to snitch to his master about this whole situation, but our boy wasn't about to let him bounce. He was like, "Oh, you want to escape now? Isn't it a little too late for that?" And seeing the guy try to make a run for it, he blasted an attack straight from his mouth, piercing right through the chest of the dude he was trying to take down. Seeing that, Master Guo was shook, thinking the MC was just flexing his inner power and could literally take someone out with just one breath. That one exhale totally proved he was a real master. Staring at our MC, he was completely mind-blown, thinking, this teenager who looks like he's only 16 or 17 and still in high school had to be some kind of ultimate top-tier martial arts master. Zhao Tianhao was floored when he realized our boy had actually won. Walking up to the loser's body, he's like, "I could have kicked you out of here and I can still totally wreck you today." But our MC tells him not to get cocky, that the dude just passed out, and he better be careful not to wake him up. Tianhao asks the MC, "Wait, you didn't finish him off?" But our boy explains that the guy was an inner strength fighter. A late stage one at that. Like, how could he possibly take him out with just his breath? At most he could just knock him out. Getting closer to the chump's body, he says he just shattered his ki-hai, meaning the dude was now totally defenseless. Zhao Tianhao, who's kinda two-faced since he paid the master. Guo at first, instead of our MC, was now saying the guy had insane skills and they were basically miracles. Meanwhile, Master Guo asks our boy how he could just shatter his ki-hai and if he could actually stop him from using his inner strength. Our MC ends up explaining that he uses this super exclusive technique. It's to block some of his pressure points and scatter his inner power so he can't, build it up anymore. Hearing this, Master Guo asks if that pressure point targeting skill is what makes someone a real master. Then our MC asks Zhao Tianhao, "So what's up with that 10 million? And the guy's like, "I'll send you double the cash as soon as I get back," thinking that any amount of money is totally worth it as long as he's got our MC on his side. Meanwhile, the bad guy wakes up and is like, "I admitted I lost today, but if you take out my master, I'll definitely get my revenge." And our boy's just like, "Bet. I've never seen a real master before, hope you don't let me down." As he's leaving, our MC is totally drained, thinking that whole aura-releasing technique from his mouth cost him 1/3 of his true essence just to freak out Zhao Tianhao. The very next day, he's back to training. He's thinking he needs to level up his skills ASAP. Then our MC gets a call from Wei, Shakim Old Lady Wei's granddaughter. Our boy's like, "Why is she hitting me up?" And when he answers the call, she's like, "There's gonna be an auction at this party. It's all to hype up some new platform and expand their social network, so the antiques they're auctioning off are super valuable and mysterious." She also said that on top of that word is they're gonna auction off some mysterious magical gear, and she thinks our boy will be totally into it. Hearing this, my dude starts thinking that if that magic item is the one he's thinking of, our protagonist already had a hunch what it was. That white cheeky chick? Our boy's like, "Yep, that's the one." Cause the rumor is that magic item has this insane ability to protect your crib, bring good luck, and block all the bad juju. Our boy says he's actually kinda interested, so the girl asks if he needs her to scoop him up tonight. But our protagonist ends up saying no, thinking that if Gay Chi King is waiting for him in some crazy expensive car, he'd be the center of attention at school all over again, so he just asks for the address. She sees he's gonna roll up on his own, so our dude just says he can drop her name to the people at the door. And after a bit, we see the other girl with Shinigami, and they're pretty much inviting Shinigami to hit up the same auction our boy is going to. The snooty girl from class chimes in that it's a super high-class party. It's thrown by Funshine International, the most top-tier company in all of Shosho. To which the arrogant friend says it's exactly like she said, and that word on the street is there will be mysterious antiques up for grabs. When our boy gets there, he looks around and thinks, damn, there are a lot of rich people in this city, and figures that Gay Chi King told him he just had to drop his name, which totally worked with the bouncer. The guy tells him they were told he was a friend of Miss Gay and that he should go right in. But as our boy walks in, people are just staring him down, wondering who he is and why it's so not okay for him to be dressed like that in a place like this. Once he's inside, our boy scans the room. He's thinking the auction hasn't kicked off yet, and Gay Chi King must still be around. And then he spots the food table. He thinks, hey, I'm still human and I need to eat. so he's gonna grab some good food while he can. But while he's fixing a plate, our protagonist hears his name called. It was the white-haired girl. Our boy asks her what she's doing there, and she explains she came with men, and she heard there were gonna be a bunch of mysterious items at the auction, so they came to check it out. Our boy asks who she came with, and if she was planning on buying anything, but then the other girl shows up. You know, the one who's supposed to be his main girl, asking what money he was gonna use to buy anything. She's like, you can't even afford a lobster dinner. How are you gonna buy stuff from this auction? Let alone actually bid on something. And our boy just admits she's right, saying he's too broke to bid on anything there, so he just came to eat, explaining that the food was actually pretty fire at that spot, and the desserts were totally fire. So he asked his white-haired ba. While she was blushing, the other girl looked seriously ticked off. Meanwhile, everyone around them was wondering who the heck the main character was, and if he had a death wish or something, not knowing who Shen Fan's boyfriend is. But after a minute, some interesting dude seems to have shown up. This guy is Jimin Hui, who's supposedly Shen Fan's boyfriend. Or at least that's the T. It's that blonde dude we saw before. He's thinking things are finally starting to get a little spicy. So while Jordan Faye is talking to the rep, she's blushing like crazy, and homeboy just slides right into the convo. He tells Faye to bounce with him because he's got something to say, but Shen Fan is so not feeling that vibe. She's like, can't we just talk here? And then Shuminghua straight up tells our main character to dip and give them some space, because he's gonna talk to Shen Fan alone. This totally ticks off our dude's little waifu too. Our boy asks why they should have to leave, which totally throws Shuminhui for a loop, because like no one's ever checked him before. So after he's like, who said that? Our MC steps up and is like, yeah, I said it. What's up? Right away the guy tells our MC he's heard a lot about him, and that his kung fu game is strong. He's like, he even took down Shinigami, and adds that our dude needs to know his taekwondo is basically just some flashy dance performance, which our boy actually agrees with. But this dude keeps pushing, telling Faye to come with him for a sec, cause he's got something legit to tell her. And when he grabs Faye's hand, she yanks it back and our MC steps up, right in front of her, all protective. Shen Fan is like, Jiminghua, what are you even doing? And our boy instantly clocks the situation and tells the guy he's not welcome here and needs to bounce. This makes him super salty, so he throws a punch at our MC, telling him to get lost. But our boy blocks it easy peasy, saying asterisk, he's asterisk the one who needs to dip. Jiminhui was totally shook when he realized our MC blocked his attack. Like that was not supposed to happen. He asks our boy if he really wants to throw down, but our MC is just like, and what if I do? Then Shuminhui starts going off about how our dude should know who he is, hyping himself up, saying he's been training with the army since he was 12 and got a rec to get into military school at 16, so he's probably handled more hardware than our dude has even laid eyes on. He's fought most of the elite special ops guys one-on-one, but our MC is totally unfazed and is just like, and so what? Like, you really want to try me? Meanwhile, somewhere else, Shinigami ended up bumping into his arrogant buddy who's like, guess who I just ran into? Shin Yinxia is like, don't you dare say it was the main character. But the dude confirms his worst fear, saying he saw Shuming and rolled up to the main entrance, looking like they were about to throw down. Shuming and his crew were there too, plus that Bouget class president chick. She's like, is it for real? Did the main character seriously crash this party and just meet Shuminhui? He must have totally embarrassed himself. Everyone was shook when they realized Shuminhui was there. Like, why was he even there? They were all saying our boy was about to square up with him, and like you had to see the look on Shuminhui's face. Dude looked like he wanted to straight up delete the main character on the spot. Then the MC's stepsis, or whatever she is, tells him, Shuminhui, this is a party thrown by Fashion International, not some playground you can just mess around in. Wherever I go is none of your business. Basically telling him to back off cause he ain't her man or anything. But still, that cocky dude kept telling our boy that he was the first one with the guts to disrespect him like that. And he was gonna show him just how big the gap was between them. But then out of nowhere, some manager from Fashion International shows up. He's all like, who dares to ruin the company's party? And right away everyone just froze. They were freaked cause Manager Shu had arrived, and they knew they were in deep trouble now. Instantly, Shuminhui tells Manager Shu that he's Shumin, and he's pretty sure our boy doesn't have an invite and is crashing the party. So he's like, you gotta kick him out. Manager Shu was like, aight, and told the MC to show him his invitation. But Shirome claps back like, why should he have to show you his invite just cause you said so? Like, shouldn't you show yours too? But Manager Shu is all, nah, Shuminhui is tight with my boss's son. But I don't know this dude, and I wrote all the invites myself. So like, who even are you? He asks the MC. Our boy just stayed quiet. Behind him, Jisoo Ranfai was thinking that for real, she was wondering the same thing since only the rich kids in town got invites. Like, how did the MC even get in here? Then the manager Shu yells at our boy to show him the invite or he's calling security. And the MC just tells him he doesn't have one, basically proving that jerk Shuminhui right. The manager was so ticked off. Shu asks the MC how he even got in without an invite. But on the side, that class president chick is like, I want to see how he gets out of this one, thinking it's hilarious. Everyone was totally dissing the MC, saying if he's not one of the Bouget elite, he doesn't belong here. Or else he'd just make a fool of himself. Meanwhile, Jin Xia was thinking that her love rival, the one who even beat her at Taekwondo, was actually just some lowlife who crashes parties. She was super disappointed. And Ron Fei asks the MC what his next move is. And right away, our boy's like, I don't have an invite, but I was invited. You can go ask the guy at the door if you don't believe me. But the manager wasn't buying it. He's like, only the big boss and his son have the clout to invite people to this party. Hearing that the MC is just like, wait, isn't Wei Shiking the head of fashion? International, Shirome was about to start begging manager Shu to let our boy off the hook, but he was quick to, yo, call security. Xu Minghui gets all up in our dude's face saying they're not even in the same league and he could get him bounced with just one word, like what was our guy gonna do about it? And while he was getting totally clowned, in front of everyone, this girl shows up asking who told him to dip. It was none other than the princess of the Wei family, Wei Shiking. Manager Chu instantly started sweating bullets asking what she was even doing there, and right away Wei Shiking tells him to cut the crap because she's not some lady from his company. She explains that our guy was her guest and he kicked him out and wanted to call the cops. Like, what was he even thinking? The manager immediately ducks, his head saying he had no idea she invited the main character and that he would never have dared to do that otherwise. Right then, Wei Shiking turns to our dude and is like, my bad, I'm so sorry for being late. I didn't expect them to be this clueless. Our boy just accepts her apology, saying they're just a bunch of ridiculous clowns. Picking up where they left off, the girl said that even her own grandpa goes out of his way to keep our guy Shen Fan happy, and now he's getting dissed by some low-level manager in person. If he just bounced out of here mad, it would be a massive L for her Wei family offending a martial arts master, for literally no reason. Our dude said that guy seemed to have some beef with him, trying to get him thrown out. The girl tells the manager to spill it no excuses, saying she'd tell his boss to fire him. The manager tried to weasel his way out of it, saying it was pretty much all Mr. Shu's fault. But Mr. Shu was totally shook, thinking that was the legendary Wei Shiking, and he started apologizing to our guy. He quickly tried to get Wei Shiking's attention, but she just asks him what he wants, like she doesn't already know what he's all about. He claims that our dude was the one who stole his girlfriend in the first place. But Wei Shiking could not care less. She tells him to shut it, saying the army just made him even more aggressive. She was like, how is it possible that a chill person like our guy is ticked off because of him? She said she'd talk about it with Uncle Shu herself. And with that, she said bye to everyone, telling our dude to follow her to the exhibits. After they left, Mr. Shu was seriously pissed, wondering how the heck our guy even got to know Wei Shiking. Rong Fei looked like she was totally crushing on him left, completely speechless. Then his fiancé quickly tells her that he's gone and she shouldn't just stand there spacing out. The fiancé was thinking, where did he even get that confidence from? Was it just because he had the princess of the Wei family backing him up? Meanwhile, Shu Rome was wondering how many more secrets our guy was hiding. Elsewhere down the halls of the place, Miss Shiking was telling our dude that Fashion International is her third uncle's company, which is why she was so sorry. But our guy tells her to forget about it, saying he's the one who should be thanking her. This got Shiking thinking, like, what if that martial arts master could actually put up with being clowned like that, which he points out real quick. She asks our boy, even though Shu Minhui disrespected him, if he could maybe let it slide for her. But our MC is not having it. He gives her this nasty look, which she kinda saw coming. She starts begging him, but our boy just gives her this dead serious look and says if that guy disrespects him one more time, he's gonna get erased. This whole thing had Miss Shikin shook, and she ended up caving to the MC's demands, all while thinking that she had to get Shu Minhui in check after this, cause she can't have the MC just taking her out. So like super quick, the MC rolled up with a butler who announced that our main guy is the person here to see the exhibits. This butler was named Uncle Lin, and he was gonna take them to the showroom. That butler asks if the MC is actually Shen Fan, saying he's just some student, but then he gets right back to his job, explaining that all these exhibits were tracked down by the Third Master Wei, and that this stuff was basically from another world, and from all over the globe, so to speak. Then he shows off this jade piece and says it's the heart of the diamond, from the blue sky of South Africa, and they say it can bring some seriously insane luck to whoever holds it. He kept on showing off a ton of stuff, saying these were all from Third Master Wei's prized collection. Miss Shikin was totally digging it, but our MC just says they're nothing more than some ordinary antiques. The butler was not having that, and asked how he could say such a thing, saying he should show him some real treasures then. So he quickly tells Miss Shikin that they still had an even bigger treasure over there as they got closer to the spot. Miss Shikin's jaw totally dropped at the sight of that antique, and she was like, no way is that the magical artifact that's going up for auction. The butler confirmed it, thinking to himself that it's not every day you see something this legit, and get floored like Shikin did. As for Shen Fan, he was betting the kid was already totally captivated. The butler quickly explained that it was the treasure basin used by a living Buddha from Tibet, and it was his personal item. He said it had the power to adjust a person's magnetic field, concentrate feng shui, bring good fortune, and exorcise evil spirits, explaining that the boss went all the way to Tibet for that treasure. Miss Shikin was completely blown away, saying it was extraordinary. But then the butler turns to the MC and asks if he was still planning on dissing Third Master Wei's collection. The MC says it looks impressive, but it's not a real magical artifact, which totally ticked off the butler. He calls him an insolent kid and says he should show them a real magical artifact then. The MC quickly asks him what a real magical artifact is, explaining that a legit one can summon wind, rain, and thunder. And this thing, it can't do anything more than mess with people's heads, which the butler did not like one bit, and he says that what he said is just a legend and can't possibly be true. But on the other hand, Shikin's thinking that if the bowl, the one that looks super miraculous to her, doesn't work, then what does work for the MC? Meanwhile, our guy is getting so over all the chatter. He just went for it, and after yanking the energy from that basin in Tibet, the old dude was totally shook, asking how that even happened, cause the pull just vanished in a flash. Our boy said he just scooped up a bit of spiritual energy from its users, no biggie. But he totally wiped out the leftover vibes, making that Shy King girl say that our MC is actually stacked with skills and you can't sleep on him. Looking around, our boy thought he was gonna bounce with nothing again, but then he got blindsided by something super weird. Miss Shy King was just like, what even is that thing? Saying that the piece of jade looked kinda basic and that the basin was way cooler. But our MC was totally vibing with that jade piece and was like, I'll take it, just name your price. But get this, Miss Shy King wasn't even planning on charging him a single cent. And after the butler handed it over, our MC noticed the dude stayed totally expressionless, even when the old man gave him that house. But that basic-looking chunk of jade totally won him over, which blew Miss Shy King's mind. The butler quickly asks our boy if there was something special about that old piece of jade, and our MC explains that after he polishes and forges it, it'll be a legit treasure of magical power. This totally floored the butler and Miss Shy King, cause it looks like our MC has the skills to forge gear, and just like that, he took the whole lot. He said there was nothing else he wanted to check out, so he was about to dip. After heading out, our boy runs right into his ex-fiancée, Shirome Faye. She's all like, "You're finally back!" Our MC walks up to Shirome Faye, super chill, and says he appreciated her for having his back until he got home. Then our boy thinks to himself he never expected to find Chalcedony just lying around on Earth where the spiritual energy is basically tapped out, which was totally wild. And using his power, he's thinking this was the first primo material he'd found, so he had to make good use of it cause his luck might not be this fire next time. Our boy thinks he could sell that magic artifact for a crazy high price, but nah, he wasn't gonna do that. He could also just forge a jade amulet for his parents and his sister Aang and Kian, who's a young lady now. He's thinking if he could successfully forge some gear, it'd be like having an extra life, which is literally priceless. Our MC figured that usually anyone who hadn't hit the profound opening stage couldn't forge magic gear. But he was Shen Fan, not just some rando. Still, his power level was super low right then, so he could only forge it real slow, carving secret spells and magic arrays into it. And that's how the days just rolled by. And in class, our MC's buddy was thinking it felt like people were ghosting him, wondering if maybe Jin Chia got to school early just to study. He's like, why is everything so sus today? But the craziest part of the day was that his crush, or well, the girl the MC's friend was super into, actually walked up to him. He was wondering if she was gonna make him go on another drink run cause he was out clubbing last night and seriously needed to crash. That girl was just asking if the main character was MIA that day, and his homie was all like, yeah, seems so, you trying to start something. But she said she was actually super worried about him. She was asking if he thought something was seriously wrong. The main character's friend was totally shook not getting any of it. Meanwhile, our boy is back at his apartment totally vibing since he'd finally finished that magic gear for his family, thinking now all he needed to do was use it to grind his spiritual energy. He'd just etched 3 basic spells, the Spirit Condensation Formation and the Diamond Divine Thunder Charm that exorcises demons, so he figured he could roll with that for protection for now. He was also thinking that with the Spirit Condensation Formation, his training was at least 30% faster, and now he just needed a place to test out its real power. Suddenly someone knocks on his door and our boy is like, yo, who's there? It turned out to be the butler with the main character's friend plus that super annoying girl. The butler apologized, explaining that his boss heard about the main character and wanted to meet him. Our boy asked if he meant the Third Master Way, but his friend and the girl were totally bugging out, saying the MC was so dope that all these important people wanted to meet him. The butler says he has something important to discuss with the main character, and asked if his 2 friends could give them some privacy. Our boy just tells them to dip. He said he'd be back at school in a few days. The old guy immediately says his boss started getting into real magic gear recently, but wasn't sure how to handle it and wanted to ask our boy to check it out. Our boy was down. While they were on their way, the butler tells him that the magic gear was brought there by a buyer. From Sheng Xiao saying it totally caught the Third Master Wei's eye, the main character was like, so that's why he held the auction to raise cash and buy that piece. The butler confirmed it, saying that rich people are all about treasures that can fix their feng shui, bring good luck, and block bad vibes. He says it's not just Shui Xiao, but even the head honcho from Tianjui went to that spot and they'd probably close a deal that day. And that piece of gear easily cost tens of millions, which is why the Third Master Wei wanted him to take a look. And if it was legit, he could just have it. So they hopped out of the car, and the main character walked into a small shack, where the Third Master Wei was waiting, asking if Mr. Shen had finally arrived. Our boy quickly introduces himself, saying he's Shen Fan, and then some bald dude asks the Third Master, wait, if he really just got a teenager to authenticate the treasure, is there nobody useful in all of Shushu? This really ticked off the Third Master Wei, who tells Shin Chan that he's in his house and doesn't get it, and if he keeps being so cocky, he's gonna get bounced. But the bald dude says that if his 2 older brothers were there, he'd shut up real fast. But he still wasn't on his brother's level. This just made the third Master Wei even more mad, but then some expert tells him to chill out and act right, which totally makes the third Master Dude Wei calm his farm. Then the guy turns to our MC and is all like, "This gentleman's here to check if the gear is legit, so go grab a seat." Then the butler whispers to our boy. He's like, "That third Master Wei from International Feng Shui, he's also in the import-export game and they've been beefing forever. Like for over a decade, they've been butting heads non-stop. And get this, his rival Shen Fan is from the coastal city of Tianjui. He runs the Haimao group and does all his business overseas. So yeah, Tianjui is pretty close to Shushu, and that old dude is the big boss Shinshu Lin. He says the guy's a famous millionaire from Shushu, and everyone calls him Master Shen." Our MC looks kinda shook TBH. Right away, that Master Shen dude is like, "Aight, since we're all here, Mr. Gu needs to show us the artifact." Looking at the thing, our boy is not buying it. Meanwhile, the third Master Dude Wei is thinking the MC doesn't really look like an expert at all. He's thinking he totally shouldn't have listened to Lin. Sizing up our guy, the third Master Wei is like, "This kid asterisk really asterisk doesn't seem like a pro. Man, I really shouldn't have listened to Lin." He asks the MC what he thinks, but Shinchan just has to jump in. He's like, "What's there to think about? It's obviously legit." Master Chen chimes in saying he bets our boy doesn't even know what a magic item is. But the MC is thinking it's a super basic piece of gear that can't handle any more juice, especially with all those cracks. He's worried it's gonna fall apart any second. Hearing all their trash talk, our boy tells them that unfortunately for them, none of y'all respect me in the slightest, so I don't need to tell you anything. Then they quickly call on some dude named Master Kai. They tell him to check it out like right now. Master Chen explains that this Master Key is a famous feng shui expert. He says no magic feng shui item can hide its true nature from him. After checking it, he declares it's a legit magic item. He tells the MC to just sit back down cause he clearly knows zip about magic gear. They hurry up and tell Master Gu to test the artifact, and he pumps a little of his key into it. It blows everyone away with this gust of fresh air. Shinchan is just like, "See, now you know this Master Gu is the real deal." He asks if our boy has some kind of supernatural power in him, something on a whole other level than just inner strength. The MC thinks to himself that even though it's not top tier or anything, there are way too many parts missing cause of its history. And that this guy wasn't even on his level. While the MC is thinking that Master Gu is nowhere near his league, the third master quickly, Wei thinks, wow, Shinchan actually invited a legit master. He figures even if he gets the magic item, he'll have to ask the great Master Gu for help. You know on how to actually use it. The dude selling it jumps in and is like, "Okay, you've all seen this incredible treasure. It's a one-of-a-kind piece, so let's start the bidding. But yo, if you made it this far in the video, drop the Hugo in the comments so I know who the real ones are." Anyway, that Master Gu thinks everyone is totally blown away by the power of the magic item, and for sure, it can extend your life and protect you from all kinds of sickness. But obviously, Shinchan just wanted to totally clown on the third Master Wei since he asked some random teen to see if it was legit. Which was totally sus. The bald dude immediately starts talking to Grandmaster Shen, being a complete hypocrite. He was all like, "Do what you can," saying he wanted to see his skills. Our boy asks him if he's for real, but then a super salty Shinchan asks him, "Yo, what's this dude's problem? Did he seriously just try to call us out or not?" Then he asks Master Gu. He's like, "What's your take on this guy?" And Master Gu just says the MC was some basic ordinary mortal. But peeping the treasure, our boy says that the 8 diagram plate was engraved with 8 different charms. And it creates a mini spirit condensing formation, and its whole deal was to build a zone full of spiritual energy that juices you up. It makes a person's body healthy and super strong. Master Gu is shook, saying our boy actually had some skills. Right away, Master Wei asks if that thing was a legit magical item. The MC confirms it, saying that this piece of gear just couldn't handle any more power because it was overused and was literally about to fall apart. A bunch of people start asking what's the deal like if it couldn't be used a lot. But this just ticks off the master. Wukong asks the MC how he dares because he totally realized, like for real. He clocked that our boy was also a cultivator and they couldn't play him. Everyone immediately starts asking Shinchan, the seller, and the other Master Gu what the heck was going on. But the MC is like, is it not obvious? Apparently Mr. Shinchan, Grandmaster Gu, and Mr. Gu all schemed together to scam the third Master Wei. They basically just admitted it, saying their plan was supposed to be foolproof. They were wondering how the MC figured it out, and right then Master Gu asks our boy how he dares to ruin their work. The MC just stares him down and asks if he wants to throw hands, saying he hasn't had a proper fight with someone with supernatural powers since his rebirth, and that it should be pretty hype. Master Shen tries to stop the fight, saying this wasn't his turf, so he couldn't be flexing. But after brushing off Mr. Shen's goons, Master Gu quickly snaps, "You totally wrecked our plans. How am I supposed to forgive you now? And since you said it wasn't a useful magical item, he asked to see his own gear. Then he whipped out this treasure. That was super creepy, with voices just begging for help, and Shen was completely frozen, asking if that was the treasure of the ghost domain, which Master Gu totally confirmed. This Master Gu is totally floored when he realizes the MC is just still sipping his cup of tea. He asks is this teenager not afraid of death or what? He explains he's a big shot who can control ghosts, which they're now facing. However, our boy had zero fear, which made him look like a fool. But the MC asked how he could possibly be scared by his weak sauce ghosts. This totally annoyed Master Gu, who said he wanted to see if he'd still be talking all that trash when he's about to die, as those ghosts swarmed our protagonist, who looked totally confident. Says it was nothing but a jar for catching ghosts, and that he'd show him what real magic gear looks like. He figured that out of all the magic in his amulet, the demon-eating divine thunder was the most OP. It was maxed out with yang energy and was literally built to annihilate all kinds of ghosts and bad vibes. Our boy could clap those ghosts super easily, so he quickly aimed one of those thunderbolts at Master Gu's magic treasure, who was totally shook realizing it was the thunder arts. From the Tianxi sect, no less. Dude immediately dropped to his knees, saying he'd never dare try that again, begging the MC for forgiveness. Our boy tells him he is going to shatter his magic arts, and asks if he accepts that he just wrecked his gear and ruined his cultivation. And if he accepted, he had to slam his head on the floor. Master Wu was like, bet, since he knew he had zero chance. The MC keeps going, saying he trashed his business's rep and made him kneel begging for mercy, asking if he had a problem with that. The dude just kept pleading for his life, so the MC was just like, "Aight, in that case. I'll let you slide this time. But if I ever see you near Shisho again, I will absolutely delete you. Not even your soul will escape." And just like that, the guy bolted from the room thinking, whoa, even the great Master Gu knelt and begged the MC for forgiveness. How could a normal dude like me even dare to face off against some immortal master who can control lightning? Shin-chan was pleading for his life, saying he was just a regular guy and that it was illegal to just off people, but our MC hears this and thinks, that much nerve and hate for the world can only come from someone with major power. And after hearing him say it was illegal to kill someone, the MC calls him out like, are you trying to play me? Where's this new princess attitude coming from all of a sudden? Shin-chan begs the protagonist to spare his life, swearing he'd give him anything he wanted looking at. The protagonist, that Master Chen, is thinking, this kid is a legit big shot. Then the MC quickly asks the so-called seller how much he was trying to charge for that 8 diagrams plate. The guy himself answers that it was nothing more, nothing less than 45 million. The MC asks Shin-chan, how about you pay 45 million for your life? Which he totally accepted. And that's how the protagonist spared Shin's life. He told Chan and the seller he wanted the cash in his hands within 3 days. Now you can get lost. At that, the third Master Wei quickly tells the protagonist he knew he was the real deal, that the others are just trash. But looking at this third Master Wei, the MC wonders how Mr. Wei ended up with a son as dumb as him. The third Master Wei ended up inviting the MC to talk somewhere else. He agreed, but first the MC walked over to Master Qi saying, you're the one who said Gu. It was a Taoist, so what was that all about? Then that Master Gu, well, Master Qi tells the MC that he's being way too humble, like how could he even be called a master compared to what just happened to Master Gu? Because Master Gu was basically just a bug compared to the MC. That's what Master Qi was saying. He breaks it down saying a so-called Taoist is someone who gets like supernatural powers through cultivation. And they can use all these magical arts and gear, which is pretty wild. And it's also called essence that's refined in Taoism. It was like the ultimate meditation level in Buddhism. And for Kung Fu students, it's about hitting that inner force stage. Master Kai is like totally shook, thinking the MC could actually control thunder. And that he was already on some legendary level, wondering why our boy would ask such a basic question. The MC was kind of satisfied with that explanation, but figured there were a ton of missing pieces in Earth's whole inheritance thing about cultivation. Like he was in the mid-stage of foundation establishment, and that Master Kai dude was just a total noob. Then like out of nowhere, he hits up Master Qi asking what's the deal with that Tianxi sect. And he's like, the Tianxi sect was this huge Taoist crew that had the whole thunder arts thing on lock. They specialized in just wrecking all kinds of demons, ghosts, and monsters, but lately they've kind of fallen off. Master Qi explains that Grandmaster Gu's ghost domain is what's most scared of the Tianxi sect's thunder arts. Then he's all like he's wondering where the MC is even from and where he learned all this stuff. The MC just tells him he started his training with his master when he was a kid, and it had nothing to do with the Tianxi sect. The MC is thinking that even though his demon-busting divine thunder was on the lowest tier of all the magic arts he trained in, it was still way more OP than the half-baked stuff on Earth. So Master Kai immediately pipes up saying his master must be an immortal. Our boy then tells us his master lived for like 840,000 years and could straight up swallow the sun, create stuff out of thin air, and was on a whole other level than just immortal. Right away, Master Shen says the MC was an insane talent, and Master Qi was also super efficient and had a big rep. But the MC was thinking that dude couldn't really do anything to help out Third Master Wei. He's like, for real, the MC, the Taoist, just opened his mouth and summoned thunder, which was mind-blowing. Master Shen then asks the MC what he thinks they should do with that 8 diagram plate, but our guy says you could probably only use it like 1 or 2 times max. Master Kai is thinking the MC's got mad skills but magic gear that keeps you healthy and fixes the feng shui is way better. Third Master Wei is thinking that crazy ability wasn't his to begin with after all, but the magic gear was pretty sick. He's thinking Xin Xuan was a total scumbag, like how dare he try to play him, and that he was gonna pay for it. The MC quickly explains that the matrix thingy didn't even matter because the plate was so sloppily made. And its functions are barely better than nothing. Like the magic gear our boy whipped up on the fly the other day was way better than this junk. Third Master Wei is shook, asking the MC if he knows how to forge stuff too. Magic gear. And what's wild is the MC says the jade amulet in his hand was, well, from one of his collections, and he custom forged it from that. The butler totally backed up what the MC was saying, mentioning that he's the one who gave that jade to the MC, which leaves Third Master Wei floored. Then he's begging the MC to forge him some magic gear, like the 8 diagrams plate where the name is basically its price. Our boy just tells him that if he helps him gather some top-tier jade, he could totally forge a magic item for him, a deal which the Third Master Wei was down for, saying it was no problem. And just like that, our MC bounced, saying bye to Master Wei, Master Shang, and his butler. But on the flip side, over at some secret club in Tianjin City, that dude Shin Chan was still heated about our protagonist. He was like, not only did he get totally clowned, but the dude even made him pay 45 million, which is enough cash to build a whole fleet of ships in South America to do business. This got one of his cronies to say he should just ghost the MC and not pay him. But Shin Chan wasn't convinced, asking how he was supposed to just not pay. Like, what if the guy comes for his head to settle the tab? Right then, Master Hu told him to chill out, that was enough. He told Shin Chan they needed to figure out their next move, and that's when a couple of his guys said that Master Hu would be touching down in Huaxia in 10 days. Shin Chan asked if there was any word from overseas about when Master Hu would be back, because he was seriously banking on this dude to take out our protagonist, or at the very least to get rid of Zhao Tianhao. Then Master Wei III would be totally useless, a complete scrub. 3 days later in Suzhou, we see our protagonist holding a card in his hands. He tells us it's the bank card Shin Chan gave him, and now he's seriously loaded. But it's a super slow grind to get to the final stage of the Foundation establishment with the Void Body Refinement Arts. They're powerful as heck, but the amount of spiritual energy a cultivator needs is insane, and the demand just skyrockets with every level up. Basically, every time our boy levels up, it costs way more money, and he's thinking that to speed things up, he's gonna need some spirit stones and pills. But there's no spirit-rich land in Suzhou, and since he has to go to school, he can't just dip. So that's how he came up with the idea that creating his own personal spiritual energy hotspot was the best play. But anyway, my peeps, that's where we're gonna wrap up part 4 of Rebirth of the Urban Immortal Cultivator. If you want to catch part 5 or another series, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you're in the loop for my vids. So with nothing else to say, love you guys a ton, and I'm out, peace. Alright, so boom, it all kicks off in July 2007, where our dude opens his eyes like, where the heck am I? He's wondering if this isn't the same bus he took during summer break.